Welcome everybody. Dan Goodwin here, your host, God's Found Jubilee program. Got an important discussion for you this evening concerning Judge Roy Moore and the allegations and accusations that have come out against him in recent days. And we're going to discuss him. I may surprise you tonight. I'm not going to take your mainstream view on this. I got to be honest, I'm very upset about what's going on. I'm upset about what the liberal news is doing. I'm upset with what the conservative news are doing, but I'm most upset with what I'm hearing from Christian people. I'm about ready to stop looking at the Christian Post. Christian Post is on Facebook, they're a website, and they run news stories. And I got to be honest, I'm very upset with them and the stories that I'm seeing on their posts. And I told them, I posted on there that I was going to make this publicly, give my opinion on what they're doing. Very disappointed in you, Christian Post, and it'd be good if maybe some folks quit looking at your site, because all you're doing is spreading unprovable and unproved lies about a man who's running for political office, and a man who's done a lot, by the way, for your country and for your freedoms. And so let me start off, let me just say this. Judge Roy Moore has been accused by 4 or 5 girls now. The first was a girl whose claims, and I'm not going to read the remarks that are said. I don't believe that's right to do, because when this man, if this man is innocent, these are terrible things to be spreading, because a lot of people hear this and they just believe it and they walk away, and they never hear, if he's ever exonerated, they'll never hear about it. What a shame to be sharing the details of what these people are saying, these details that are not proven. But this girl is claiming that when she was 14, that Judge Roy Moore did something evil, something wicked, something illegal with her, sexual in nature. And you've heard, I'm sure you've heard on the news what these allegations are, and I'm not going to read them. And but I'm going to surprise you tonight, I think, with my point of view. Now maybe some of you I won't surprise. I hope that's true. I hope that many of you out there will have already had the view that I have. But I want to read, in light of these allegations, and of course what's happening is Senator Mitch McConnell, my senator here in Kentucky, came out very strongly telling Judge Roy Moore he needed to resign. Well, do you know what? Mitch McConnell was against Judge Roy Moore before he got in this thing. Because Mitch McConnell, my senator here in Kentucky, is a rhino. He is not a conservative. He's part of the swamp in Washington, D.C. Him and John McCain have both demanded that Judge Roy Moore, who's been accused of some things, they're demanding that he get out of the race. In other words, they are treating him as guilty even before any evidence is presented. Remember the guy that ran for president, the Mormon? Remember him? He came out and said this. He said that elections are different than courtrooms. You're not innocent till proven guilty in an election. Really? Where did that come from? What Bible are you reading, sir? Oh, the Mormon Bible. Okay, well maybe your Mormon Bible says that, but do you understand what's wrong with that statement? Do you understand that if one woman accuses you of something 30 or 40 years ago, you're supposed to step down, you're supposed to get out of the race, even though you're innocent? That's what the man said. That's what Mitch McConnell is saying. That's what John McCain is saying. Do you realize these men did not take much of a stand against the Democrats? There's a man, Menendez. You heard of Menendez? You have to dig to find it. He's in court right now. He's had 32 days of trial that you haven't heard about. He's accused of some terrible. Not only is he accused, he's being prosecuted. That's right. He's being prosecuted. The jury is out right now trying to determine guilt or innocence, and they're having trouble coming to a consensus and an agreement between everybody. Have you heard John McCain ask for Mr. Menendez, who is a sitting senator? Have you seen John McCain demanding he resign? No. Have you seen Mitch McConnell demanding he resign? No. He's not only been accused, he's being prosecuted, and the jury is out. He's not been asked to resign. Now, Judge Roy Moore is being accused by some women of something 40 years ago, And he's being asked to resign. He's being treated as guilty when he has not been proven guilty. Now that's wrong. Now let me read just some verses here. And we got a good crowd on Facebook here, and those of you that are watching the YouTube channel here, I want you to know that I'm doing a Facebook Live at the same time as I'm recording this. And so when you see me look at the screen, I've got Facebook Live up. We've got quite a few folks that have joined us here. And there's some comments here. Let's see. We've got several people commenting, but I'm hoping that as I go along that they're going to have some opinions to share, and I'll read them for you here. But let me read a scripture or two for you. I wrote down several scriptures that I want to read for you tonight and help you understand why I have not condemned Mr. Roy Moore, and I am still supporting him 100% in his run for the Senate. By the way, do you understand that in just a few weeks that election is going to be held, and the Republicans are throwing Judge Roy Moore under the bus? Meaning, in fact, some of them have said they're going to vote for the Democrat. See, that's the kind of guys that we've got in the Republican Party. We got wackos. The Democrats, as wacky as they are, they stick together. They stick together. The Republicans are. The problem is a lot of our Republicans are actually Democrats. They're what we call a rhino, Republican in name only. And that's our problem. They're part of the swamp. Mitch McConnell's part of the swamp. John McCain's part of the swamp, and many others. But I was very disappointed, and I'll read it in a minute here, but Senator Ted Cruz has come out and asked Judge Roy Moore to resign. To get out of the race. I'm very disappointed. And I want to say that publicly on my program. Ted Cruz, I supported you during the election, during the primary. I even, for the first time ever, I actually sent some money to Ted Cruz's campaign just because I believed he was the most constitutional person running. Rand Paul may be a close second, but I lined up with Ted Cruz. Now, when he lost the primary, I threw my support behind the President Trump. And you know what? I think probably nobody could have done what Trump is doing and what I think Trump is going to do. But Mr. Cruz, I'm very, very disappointed in you. You came out and basically condemned Judge Roy Moore and treated him as guilty. Now, Ted, go read your Bible. I know you're a believer. I know you believe the Bible. Mr. Cruz, go and read the Bible. Listen to what I'm going to say tonight and get on your knees and repent and get right with God. And offer up an apology tomorrow morning publicly to Judge Roy Moore and throw your support back behind him, because what you did is wrong. Senator Mike Lee and others, conservatives, have thrown the most conservative guy running under the bus. Do you understand that we have a governor of Alabama where Judge Roy Moore is running? Do you understand the governor is a Republican? Do you know what that means? That means that if Judge Roy Moore gets elected, and gets a seat in the Senate, and a few months later, evidence comes forward and he's found guilty. Do you understand that the governor of Alabama will pick another person to take the place of Judge Roy Moore, which would keep that seat in the hands of the Republicans? Why aren't the Republicans, why isn't Mitch McConnell smart enough to understand that? Why would you vote for the Democrat? Why would you throw the Republican under the bus when nothing's been proven? In fact, there's a lot of evidence to show that these people are not telling the truth. And I'll get to that in a minute. But why would you throw your man under the bus? I'll tell you why. Because they hate Judge Roy Moore and what he stands for more than they hate what the Democrat stands for. Now, that is the truth. Now, I'm not saying that's what Ted Cruz believes. I'm giving Ted Cruz some benefit of the doubt here. I think he made a bad judgment call because of all the pressure. And they want to look good to the women, and the women vote. Do you know what? It ain't about looking good. It's about being right. It's about being biblically right. Ted Cruz, I'm calling you out. You get on your Facebook, you get on the airways tomorrow, and you apologize, and you throw your support back behind Judge Roy Moore because the man is innocent till proven guilty. And I seem to remember, Ted, some accusations were thrown your way during the primary, and it hurt, didn't it, Ted? Are you listening, Ted Cruz? Somebody sent this to him. It hurt, didn't it? False accusations were sent your way, and you were out there defending yourself and hoping that people wouldn't believe those accusations. Some of them were about your father. And see, what's the difference here? Nothing. The difference is you caved. You gave in on principles, and biblical principles, and you've thrown a man under the bus. After the election, after he loses, and it's found that he's innocent, how are you going to make this right? I told you I was mad tonight. Now I need to reason with some, especially some of you ladies. Some of you ladies don't get it. You don't get this stuff, and you need to get it. Bearing false witness is a dangerous thing to do. Thank you, Kathy. Robert says this is disappointing about Cruz. I understand. I agree with you. It's very disappointing. I happen to have a lot of respect for Ted Cruz, but I'm very disappointed that he has caved to his principles here. It's just sad to me. You just wonder: is there anybody in Congress that has principles that they'll stand on? All right, hang on a second. Let me refresh this because I may have. I want to make sure my Facebook page is still going here. We may have been bumped off. I don't know, but let me refresh this. While that's refreshing, let me read a verse for you. And I want to help you tonight. I want to help you with I want to help you stand for the truth and not offend God and not offend anybody. You may offend people who don't believe right, but that's all right. Let me help you stand for the right here. Let me help you with this in a biblical way. Write this down. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 13. Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 13. I'm going to read it for you. Here's what it says. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him. Now let me explain what that's saying. He that answereth a matter, or he who makes a determination or decides something before he heareth the matter. In other words, he that makes a decision on what is right, on right and wrong, guilt or innocence, he that answereth or makes his decision about guilt or not guilt, before he heareth it, in other words, before he has all the facts. Look what it says. It's not folly and shame to the guy that was accused. It's folly and shame unto you, Ted Cruz, Mitch McConnell, John McCain, Mike Lee. I'm putting the Republicans in there. Phooey on the Democrats. You can't reason with those lugheads. Forget them. Don't even worry about them. I'm concerned about our conservative Republican guy. Where are you guys? What is wrong with you people? America's going to hell tonight, and you guys are throwing a man under the bus who's probably been set up by the Democrat machine. You're guilty. Not Judge Roy Moore. Now, Judge Roy Moore may be guilty. I don't know. I don't know him. I don't know what he did 40 years ago. I have no way that I could know. But I've got to give him the benefit of the doubt until he's proven to be guilty, and I'm going to. You that have believed this accusation without evidence, I'm talking to you out there on the screen, you listening on your computer, especially some of you females, some of you ladies, you have trouble with some of this. Your emotions get in the way of principle and of right and wrong. And I'm talking about some of you preachers out there. And I'm talking about you politicians. This verse says it's folly and shame unto you when you make a judgment without having the facts. So somebody comes on TV and says, oh, Judge Roy Moore has been accused of this, and you believed it to be true. Folly and shame unto you. Get on your knees and ask God to forgive you. And if you've shared it publicly, you need to get on the public airways and ask to be forgiven for jumping on the bandwagon and falsely accusing a man without any evidence. I apologize. I've been fighting a cold. That's why I haven't been on for a while. I've been fighting something, and my voice is weak. But I had to get on. It's been over a week since I've been here. Let's see, Tim says you're absolutely right. Thank you, Brother Tim. Alana says Vice President Mike Pence seems to be about the only one with integrity, principle, and biblical morals up in our government. Alana, I have not heard Mike Pence give an opinion, and I'm glad I haven't. If he has, share that with us, somebody. But as of to my knowledge, Mike Pence has not come out and expressed an opinion on Judge Roy Moore. Look, if you don't know the facts, that's the thing to do. We need to treat him as if he's innocent until evidence comes in that says we have to do otherwise. And by the way, let the election go. If he wins and it's found that he's guilty, he'll be replaced by the governor. No, big deal. Why do you got to destroy the man? I'm telling you why they got to destroy him. Mitch McConnell hates him. Remember, they ran another man against him. And even Mr. Trump went for the other man. I think that was all political. But he wanted to get on the good side of Mitch McConnell. He's trying to get Mitch McConnell to do something, to get on board. And I think he supported Mitch McConnell's man, thinking it would help. Well, the man lost. And Judge Roy Moore is the people's choice in Alabama. Leave him alone. Leave Alabama alone. Let Alabama decide what they want to do. How's that? I bet they know a lot more about what's going on than anybody else out here knows, right? So let them alone out there. Let them have their election. And if he loses, then okay, the other guy with the Democrat wins. But why do we want to throw him under the bus and let the Democrat win? That's a disaster. And by the way, we don't know whether he's guilty or innocent. You have to treat him. What does the Bible say? He that answereth a matter before he heareth it is folly and shame on him. If you make a decision on the guilt or innocence of somebody without the facts, folly and shame unto you. You've sinned. Now, there's people listening to me right now. You've sinned. You're not right with God right now. You have discredited and judged a man without evidence. Now, that'll come back on you. Are you listening? That'll come back on you. Hey, pastor, one of these days, someone's going to accuse you about something with a woman 5 or 10 years ago. You're going to bristle. You're going to, it's not true. You don't believe it. It's going to come back on you. You listen to me. It's going to come back on you. You reap what you sow. You bring false judgment. You judge somebody with all the facts. It'll come back on you. You'll be accused of something. And a bunch of your people in your church are going to believe it. And you don't think I'm telling the truth, do you? I've pastored 3 times. You better wake up out there. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it's folly and shame unto him. Just joined and missed the Ted Cruz discussion. Is he against Roy? Susan, it's on my Facebook page, Susan, God's Found Jubilee Facebook page. I posted it. Ted Cruz withdrew his support of Judge Roy Moore. Made a statement, and maybe I'll read it for you here in a minute. Let's see if I can bring that up. I can't seem to... all right, here we go. I think I've got that in here. See if I can find it. First of all, if you're not fed up with Sessions after watching this, what will it take? Sessions was asked about Judge Roy Moore by that Lee woman, the Congresswoman Lee. And she held up these pictures of these women who've accused Judge Roy Moore, and she held up Judge Roy Moore's picture. And she said, Mr. Sessions, what about this? Do you believe these women? And he said, I've got no reason not to believe these women. Your Attorney General said that. Mr. Sessions, I heard him say it. He said, I've got no reason not to believe those women. Well, how about, Mr. Sessions, you're the chief law enforcement in the country. How about evidence, Mr. Sessions? Okay, some women, by the way, only 2 of them have accused him of a criminal act. And how about Mr. Sessions? You got no. Let me give you a reason, Mr. Sessions. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 13. Somebody tell Attorney General Sessions to read Proverbs chapter 18, verse 13. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it's folly and shame unto him. How about, Mr. Sessions, you get some facts and some evidence before you believe those women? Just because a woman says something. By the way, in the same conference or the whatever you call it, what do they call that? They had Mr. Sessions come before Congress for this hearing, the hearing that he did. In the hearing, he got very angry and was mad at them for falsely accusing him about something he didn't do. And he went over and over again explaining, look, that's not true. That's false. Okay, Mr. Sessions, you reap what you sow. You're doing the same thing to Judge Moore. Judge Roy Moore, there's no evidence that states that he did any of these things. There's 2 women so far that have accused him of something that's illegal. The others were not illegal. These 2 are something that would be a criminal act. But there's no evidence. And it's 40 years ago. Come on. And there's no evidence. And by the way, brought forth by liberal news organizations who hate Mr. Trump, hate conservatism. And they went after these girls and paid them money and got them to bring these stories out. That's very suspicious to me, my friends. Mr. Sessions, why would you believe something like this when you don't want those congressmen to believe what they're saying? So, that was Representative Jim Jordan, who did a great job trying to get Mr. Sessions to answer some things and asking him if he's going to bring a special counsel to investigate Uranium One and Hillary and Lynch and all them. And Mr. Sessions said no. Mr. Trump needs to fire him. If for no other reason, he needs to fire him because he condemned and basically said that Judge Roy Moore is guilty upon the testimony of these 2 women about something that happened 40 years ago that they were paid and talked into bringing public by these news organizations. They were paid for. And their stories have holes in them. And Mr. Sessions, the top law enforcement, says, yes, I believe them. Fire him. He's a dangerous man. Fire him. Brother Goodwin, he's a Republican. He's a conservative. Fire him. Do you want to stand in a courtroom with him bringing charges against you? My goodness, believing something without evidence. Shame on us. Shame on us. It's all over the news now. Every news agency, they're talking about that it must be true. I mean, there's 4 or 5 women. It must be true. No, it doesn't must be true. No. By the way, Jackson Lee, the woman who had the pictures and held the pictures up and asked Sessions if he thought these women were telling the truth and all that. All the women that came forth about Bill Clinton, do you know that woman never believed any of them? See, the Democrats, as evil as they are, they got more integrity than our guys. Hey, Mr. Sessions, Congresswoman Lee's got more integrity at this moment than you do. Shame on you. Mr. Sessions, Attorney General Sessions, get on your knees tonight, get right with God, and come out publicly tomorrow and apologize for what you said. You brought shame upon Judge Roy Moore without evidence. Shame on you. I told you I'm mad tonight. Need another verse? 2 Timothy chapter 3. Well, we've got another verse in Proverbs here. Let me turn back to Proverbs chapter 12. Let's keep the Bible in this, right? Proverbs chapter 12. What does it say? Verse 22. Lying lips are abomination to the Lord. Lying lips are abomination to the Lord. And you're all saying amen right now, right? That's right, preacher. Do you know what? What's the difference in lying and repeating a lie? What's the difference in a woman lying about somebody about something 40 years ago? And I'm not saying they are. I don't know. And neither do you, and neither does Mr. Sessions, neither does Ted Cruz, neither does Mitch McConnell. We don't know all the facts. Now, there's some issues about these women that bother us. Anyone that cares to look into it, there's some problems here. But listen, what's the difference in a woman lying about somebody and a bunch of people in the news and a bunch of congressmen and a bunch of preachers and a bunch of women around the country repeating the lie? Who's the liar? All of them. All of you. If you're spreading this out there, you're a liar. Because you don't know the facts. You're spreading a lie. You're spreading hearsay that something you heard, somebody said, and you're repeating it, and you're bringing judgment upon somebody. You're a liar. You're spreading a lie. Lying lips are an abomination to God. It's time to get right with God. God, look, if Judge Roy Moore is guilty, it'll come out. God will deal with it. But don't do something wrong just because you're getting caught up in the thing. Be righteous, my friends. What else we got here? Let's see. Let me go back up here because some folks are posting. Let me see, where are we at here? Susan says, just joined and missed the Ted Cruz discussion. All right. Let's see, we already got that. Let's see, somebody said something here. I'll skip that. Let me read another verse for you. 2 Timothy. That's a prophecy verse. 2 Timothy, right? 2 Timothy chapter 3. You know this verse. Know this also, in the last days, perilous times shall come. Here's a verse that talks about the end times, right? What's it going to be like in the end times? Here it is. Men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers. 2 Timothy 3:3, false accusers. What is a false accuser? Somebody that falsely accuses somebody. Like maybe some of these women. I don't know that. I don't know that they're a false accuser or not. I see some problems with what they're saying. I see a problem with waiting 40 years right before a national election to come out. I see a problem with the liberal news that went after them and somehow found them, paid them money, talked them into giving their story. I see some mistakes, I see some red flags in the story, some things that they've said that are not that other people are saying can't be true, and there's problems, there's flaws. There's a lot of issues there, but I don't know if they're telling the truth or not. But a false accuser is somebody who spreads something that's false, whether you're the instigator or not. All right, one more verse, Revelation 12. So don't be a false accuser. If you don't know the facts, stay out of it. And my goodness, I'm not taking, my goodness, Mitch McConnell, you're going to take his side? And all the Democrats, Jackson Lee, and you're going and the liberal Washington Post, you're going to jump on their bandwagon. You know, you got Menendez who's still in the Senate and hasn't been asked to resign, and Mitch McConnell, John McCain, none of them have asked him to leave. What's going on here? They're trying to destroy Judge Roy Moore. They do not want him in the Senate. They'd rather have the Democrat than Judge Roy Moore. That's the truth. Revelation chapter 12, verse 10, and I heard a loud voice saying, in heaven now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. Who's the accuser of the brethren? The devil, Satan. That's right. So why do you want to be like him? Ted Cruz, why do you want to be like why do you want to be an accuser of the brethren? Hello, Ted? I like you, Ted. Ted, I sent money to your campaign. Ted, why do you want to be like Satan? Why do you want to be an accuser of the brethren? Now, if you've got facts, Ted, if you've got evidence, okay, bring it forth. But you don't. You dropped your principles. You gave in. And you want to look good, I guess. Shame on you. Mr. Sessions, why do you want to be an accuser of the brethren? Why didn't you say, look, I don't have the facts. I can't answer that. Oh, my goodness. All right, let me read a couple things and I'll let you go. Some of the stories that are out, I already read you that. The question that Representative Jim Jordan gave to Mr. Sessions, very disappointed in how that went. Let's see. We got the Washington Post. Sessions should resign after making the evil claim. That's what I said after Mr. Sessions. It's in the Washington Post. You can see it on the Facebook page, what Ted Cruz said. And, you got this. The truth will come out. I want to be found standing for truth and for right. Somebody has spotted in the yearbook. See, there's a yearbook that the 14-year-old girl has. And supposedly Roy Moore signed it. And I guess they're using this to prove that they were friends. in 1977. You know what they found? They found that the ink for Roy Moore and the date is different. It looks different. They also found that the 77 is written different in the second time than it was the first time, and that the R and the M in Roy Moore does not look the same. You know, in other words, it's a forgery. See, there's stuff going on behind the scenes some of you haven't taken the time to look at and to get all the facts. There's also the fact that the 14-year-old girl, she's older than that now. I forget. But anyway, she said when she was 14 that Judge Roy Moore, by the way, what happened was the woman was going to court for something, and she happened to come across Roy Moore, who was not a judge then. He was 32 years old. And he supposedly offered to watch the girl, the 14-year-old girl, while mom went to court. And the mom said, sure, that'd be great. Now, what's wrong with, you don't see a problem with that? You don't think that's fishy? Would you leave your 14-year-old girl with a stranger in a hallway somewhere? Would you do that? This woman claims she did, or at least the daughter claims the mother did that. And then supposedly gave Judge Roy Moore, who at 32 years old, gave him her phone number. A couple of days later, he calls the house. And this girl said she took the call in her bedroom. The only problem with that is the mom came out on Breitbart and said that there was no phone in the daughter's bedroom. So there's a discrepancy already. There are all kinds of red flags here. Something doesn't compute here. All right, so we got that on the Facebook page you can look at. I got a clip by OAN. Wish I could play it for you. Very interesting clip that you can watch on the Facebook page about all this from OAN. Let's see. We got a clip here from another one from OAN, One American News Network. There's two good stories that they brought. Rush Limbaugh, I got him on the Facebook page, who talked about the fact that Democrat Senator Menendez is on trial accused of sex with underage hookers in another country, and nobody cares. And he hasn't been asked to resign. Mitch McConnell hasn't asked him to resign. You see the hypocrisy here? And you see that our rhino Republicans are more interested in keeping conservative Judge Moore out than they are a Democrat. This is shameful. Our country's in trouble tonight. Here's Ted Cruz. Let me read this for you. Here's what I said. Very disappointing in you, Ted Cruz. Is this how you want to be treated when you are accused of a crime? I seem to remember your dad was accused of something and you were upset that it was being talked about with no facts and no evidence. Here's one of Ted Cruz's statements. Here's Ted Cruz. Here's what he said. Both last week and this week, there are serious charges of criminal conduct that, if true, not only make him unfit to serve in the Senate, but merit criminal prosecution. Did you hear what he said? If true. Okay, Ted, you should have stopped right there. If true. You don't know if they're true, and you admitted you don't know if they're true, but yet you have taken away your support, and you've asked him to step down. Ted, did you step out of the race when you were accused of things, when you were running for president? Did you step out? No, you didn't, Ted, and you shouldn't have, because you were innocent. So why are you condemning this man, Ted? Shame on you. Shame on you. Okay. I expect better than that from our right-wing conservative, Bible-believing men in Congress. Cruz pulls support from Moore. Allegations merit criminal prosecution if true. I agree. If it's true, sure. But he ought to be treated right, and it ought to be facts brought forth. All right. On that note, we got a good crowd still on Facebook. Very disappointed, Ted Cruz. Susan says, God help them people with their lies, praying for them all to repent and tell us all who paid them to lie. Let's see. Sharon says, Proverbs 18:23, spouting off before listening to the facts, both shameful and foolish. And that's the verse that I just read, Sharon, only I read it out of the King James. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it's folly and shame unto him. All right, we've got a good group listening. God'sFinalJubilee.com is the website, Facebook page, God's Final Jubilee Facebook page. And I'm going to let you go on YouTube, and we're going to continue on Facebook here. I just wanted to get this off my chest. Folks, stand for truth. Stand for what's right. Do not believe, do not make judgments without facts. Nobody has any facts, nobody has any evidence that this man is guilty. Give him the benefit of the doubt. The man has stood for all these years. He's a right-wing conservative. Does that mean that he didn't do something? No. Make sure you stand. Make sure you demand evidence before you condemn somebody. All right. God bless you.